Summertime, a time of rest, relaxation. The sun is shining, the waves crashing upon the shore of some beach, crickets and frogs chirping their way throughout the night, and humidity. Now, all of the outdoor activities of summer are wonderful, but there's also a very special place in my heart for summertime video games. Now, I know I'm not alone in this. So many people have so many specific gaming memories tied with the summer, mainly because of school being out for a lot of people, and that's the time where you really catch up on video games or play some new games with your friends. But there are also video games that are just inherently summertime. And those are the games we are going to talk about today. Once I take the green screen down, because I'm getting really tired of standing here with this tea in my hand. So back to the ground. Hi everybody, my name is Alex, aka Qualitea, and welcome back to the channel. So I kind of got this idea for this video very late at night on kind of a day like today where it was a little dreary for the summer. It's very rainy right now, it's very cloudy, and I was kind of thinking about it on a similar night, like, oh man, I want those summer vibes. I want those summer vibes. And one thing that video games do is really just take us and immerse us in various different worlds with different aspects and themes. So I kind of thought, like, what games are just absolutely summery? And, you know, whether you just want to really get a hold of all of the summer vibes by playing a super summery game during the summer, or, you know, maybe you're watching this in the winter and you're just longing for just nice, warm summertime feelings, then maybe this list will help you find some games that you haven't tried, or maybe you do know and have played and just kind of forgot about them. There are a lot of games that embody the feeling of summertime. So those are the games I want to talk about. Now, this list is kind of a hodgepodge of games across different consoles, and while some of them might not be super easy to play, I still want to talk about them and make them known because they have some kind of special connection to me, or again, I just think they fit the topic really, really well. I will also give a disclaimer, there are 2 games on this list that I have not played, but I think I'd be completely wrong to not include them because they are just very summer vibey. So I want to include them, make them known, because I do intend to play both of these games at some point in time. Now, I'm getting this one out of the way because I do think when people think summer, this game is one of the very first games that they think of, and that is Super Mario Sunshine. Now, I of course have the GameCube game in my hand, but it was also a part of the Super Mario 3D All-Stars pack, which, though it's no longer really available, you can still probably find some in like a Walmart bin somewhere, because they didn't really, the scarcity thing that they wanted didn't really super happen, so you might still be able to find a copy in the wild somewhere for a decent price. Now, Super Mario Sunshine is a game that I grew up playing. It was one of the very first games that I had for my GameCube, and it's just one of those things that in terms of the environment, the music, the missions you go on, it's all very summer and it's all very tropical. When I think of summertime video game music, the first things that pop into my head are Delfino Plaza and Bianca Hills and all of that music. It's just the game itself embodies so much summer. Not only that, but it's a great game. You as Mario, you know, end up on this island going on a tropical vacation with Princess Peach and Toadsworth, only to be arrested upon arrival as somebody has been masquerading around as Mario, causing vandalism and just all sorts of crime. You do quite literally start out with Mario in jail, which I still think is absolutely hilarious to this day. And you are relegated to do some community service in order to make up for your crimes. As you go along and go through the different missions, you slowly start to realize what's happening, but you just go to so many different kind of summery tropical environments. You have water levels, of course, where you're swimming down in order to try to find shine sprites, or you have a theme park, which is honestly one of the most memorable aspects of the game is the theme park. It was just so fun and just so interesting, and like it just really embodied it. Of course, even the hub world is so interesting and there's so much to do and see there that just amass the summery vibes. I will never forget seeing the water in Super Mario Sunshine for the first time. I just thought it was so cool, and so, which it's so weird to say, right? It's so weird to say, but it looked so refreshing as a kid, and I was like, wow, that looks awesome. That looks so cool. And of course, this is a game that I played a lot growing up as well. One of my most precious summertime memories, if we can call it precious, is playing this with my younger cousin and having a good time and then leaving the room for a few minutes only to find that he had accidentally deleted my entire save file, which I was this close to beating the game for the first time, and he completely wiped the whole thing. So that's a precious summertime memory, I think. I know it's a lot of people's least favorite 3D Mario. I personally love it. It's my absolute favorite. I thought it was fun. I thought the mechanics were fun. I loved using FLUDD, which is just another whole aspect of it, and incorporating water and other such kind of ideas into the game. But I personally really love it. And hey, even if you just want to go run around Delfino Island and listen to the happy summertime music, there you go. There's that whole aspect of it too. But I could not make this list without mentioning Super Mario Sunshine. Now, for the next game on this list, this is one of the games that I have not played yet, but I'm really excited to, and I really think that even though I've been talking about this since my backlog video, this summer is the summer I'm gonna do it, and that is Final Fantasy X. Now, the reason I decided to put this on the list despite not having played it is because I watched my mom play it last summer, so it already has that kind of summertime connection, but the world that Final Fantasy X is set in is very, very tropical. It's very interesting, especially because it's based on the South Pacific and Thailand and Japan. Spira just kind of embodies that kind of feeling of summertime and adventure, and the music also really plays a big part of that as well. Now, I don't know too much about the story just because I've been trying to stay away from spoilers, but for a brief synopsis, you begin the game as Titus, who is a blitzball player from the high-tech metropolis of Zanarkand. During a tournament, the city is attacked by this massive evil being called Sin. Now, Sin ends up taking Titus to the world of Spira, and come to find out, when he gets there, Zanarkand has already been destroyed for 1,000 years at that point in time. Eventually, he ends up meeting Yuna, a young summoner who's about to go on a pilgrimage in order to finally destroy Sin, and thus, their party sets out and the adventure begins. Now, it's already an interesting kind of hook, you know, the idea of your whole world and life getting destroyed only for you to wake up 1,000 years later and have no idea what's going on. So that premise is already really, really interesting. But just even that opening little area that you're in at the beginning of the game, walking around on the beaches, talking to all of the islanders, it just really embodies this really, really cool outlook of adventure, but also it just has those summertime feelings as well. But really, I just think there's so much in this game that just is so cool and interesting, and just seems like a really good fit to play this summer. It's not overly summery, like you're not, you know, sitting under a palm tree drinking like coconut juice or anything like that, but it offers a new and diverse land to explore, because I think up to this point in time, Final Fantasy games especially weren't really experimenting with location. So to have an entire game based off of the South Pacific, I think is a great and awesome idea. So I'm really excited to finally dive into Final Fantasy X this summer. Now, next up might be another obvious one, but again, it had to be included on the list, and that is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And yes, while I could have also put Phantom Hourglass here, I didn't. You all already know why if you watched my Legend of Zelda tier list, but I really do think that even in comparison to Phantom Hourglass, I think Wind Waker just has the more summertime vibes between those two inherently summery Zelda games. So in Wind Waker, you are Link, of course, and it's your birthday! Happy birthday, Link! You are finally going to become a man, but the day of your birthday, your sister gets kidnapped, and you have to go on a large quest across the Great Ocean in order to find her. And as you do that, you realize there's more at stake here, and the whole world is in trouble. So it's up to you and the King of Red Lions, your little talking boat, in order to save the world. Now, of course, the biggest thing about Wind Waker is the boat travel. You're going around every island in a boat! And there's a lot to do in the Great Ocean as well. There's lots of different islands that might not be super important to the story, but include lots of interesting characters and extra things to do. And just every main island is so interesting. There's so much personality there, including the dungeons and all of that. When it comes to gameplay, it's pretty standard Zelda fare. A lot of people think that Wind Waker is actually one of the easier Zelda games, which I would agree. The other thing to note too is not every island within the game is super tropical. You have a volcano island, you have a whole ice island. There's a ghost ship, which isn't really an island anyways, but it's still there. There's a lot to do and see in the Wind Waker, but some of my favorite moments growing up is just sailing on the open sea, finding new places to go, and just having this grand grand adventure. So once again, I think Wind Waker is a great fit for this list. Next up is a personal favorite of mine, and not your traditional summertime game, I don't think, but I'm gonna explain why it's very summery to me. And that is Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. So this game is a game that for the first time I played it was during the summer. So I'm always gonna have that connection with it, but I think there's more to it than that. I think Super Mario RPG does a really good job at embodying the idea of adventure, which is another thing that I really think of when it comes to summer. You also have various locations that, while they might not be the beach or an island or something tropical, that you would probably find yourself more at during the summer season. Forests, rivers, just kind of stuff like that. It gives this very cozy, yet adventurous, yet just, I don't know, it makes me think of the outdoors. All of the locations make me think of the outdoors. So the plot of Super Mario RPG is Peach once again gets kidnapped from Mario's care, and it's up to Mario to go get her back. However, when Mario comes across Bowser's castle and tries to fight him, we realize there's something else at foot here, as a giant sword comes and stabs Bowser's castle right in the middle. And thus it flings Mario out of the castle, flings Bowser out of the castle, and flings Peach out of the castle. So from then on, Mario has to go on this quest to find where Princess Peach is, and then eventually save the world. Now, when I think of some very summery songs and locations, I always think of Tadpole Pond. Always. One, the music, it's got some nice steel drums, it's a pretty fun time, but it just, again, it's one of those things that it just reminds me of summer. The color palette reminds me of summer. The music reminds me of summer. It's just, I don't know, it's just very comforting. And again, having played this game growing up during the summer and during my summer break, it's always going to have that special connection with me. And, you know, while it is an SNES game, it is getting remade. It won't be out until November, but hey, you might be feeling some summertime vibes then as well. Now, for the second one that I don't have and have never played, but I really wanted to put it on this list because I've heard nothing but fantastic things, and that is Shin-Chan, Me and the Professor on Summer Vacation, The Endless 7-Day Journey. Now, just even looking at this game, you get very summertime in Japan vibes, and that's exactly what this game is. So this game is adorable, and while I've never actually watched the anime that this game is based on, I know the character very, very well, and just think all of the aesthetics about it are just so cute, and I love it. Hiroshi has to go on a business trip to Kyushu, so now the entire Nohara family has decided to stay with a childhood friend of Misae's in Aso. But when they arrive at Kumamoto Station on their way to Aso, they meet a strange man who offers them an even stranger character on the condition that they'll act as his witness. With his new camera in hand, Shinosuke can enjoy his summer vacation to the fullest by exploring the fields and mountains around him. The scenery is even crawling with creatures that he would never find in Kasekabe, and there are townspeople to help and new friends to make. One cool summer night, Shinosuke witnesses a giant creature outlined against the light of a full moon. Next to the creature is a strange man with a wide smile. It's the same weird man who gave him the camera at the station, and he calls himself Professor Akuno. Following this encounter, more and more strange things start to happen on this endless summer vacation. So I saw Kit talking about this on the Kit and Krista podcast, and I fell in love with it. I'm waiting to just have a little extra money so I can order a physical copy of it from Play Asia, but it looks so cute. Just one look at the scenes from this game and you get Studio Ghibli summertime vibes. You can almost hear the cicadas in the background as you walk through these beautiful environments that have the game. And so I love Japan. I've always wanted to go really, really badly. That's like my dream vacation. And even though it's really hot in the summer, I've always wanted to go during the summer just to kind of really experience what it's like. And this game kind of takes me there. It does a great job of immersing the player, and it's just a really cute, cozy, fun game. So even though I haven't played it, I really wanted to put it on this list in hopes that maybe some other people have played it and can say the same things, or maybe you didn't know about it and it looks a game that's right up your alley. Now, another classic and another RPG that I remember playing for the first time during the summer, Earthbound. Now, Earthbound is kind of the same thing as Super Mario RPG. While it's not distinctively summer, it still captures those childhood summertime adventure vibes. So Earthbound takes place in the 90s, which already has just this very specific theming to it. And it takes place in the very fictional country of Eagle Land, which is just kind of a mock-up of the United States. One of my favorite things about Earthbound are the enemies and just how they kind of play off of that idea of this being some weird version of the US. I just think that's really, really funny. So you start out the game as Ness, who continues to be the main character throughout the entire game, as he goes and investigates a mysterious crater created by aliens. And when I really think about it, explaining the plot of Earthbound is hilarious because it's so strange. It's just so strange. After meeting a small bee-like creature named Buzz Buzz, Ness is instructed to go around and collect the 8 melodies in order to bring peace back to the world and save the world from aliens. Now, as you go through Earthbound, it's just one of those games that it feels like an adventure, but it feels so homey. It feels something that's so relatable to so many people. Maybe not kids of today, but even having a few years in the 90s, I can still kind of relate a little bit in the early 2000s. But it just embodies so much summertime kid adventure. And I remember, aside from just having played this game during the summer growing up, running around having adventures like this and pretending crazy things were happening and you were going on some grand adventure stuff. And even though you're not pretending in Earthbound, there are very much so aliens coming to, destroy the planet. The connection is still there. Just Earthbound is a game that I will always associate with the summer because of that sense of childhood wonderment and adventure and running around this big giant world. I love Earthbound. I really love Earthbound. Now, stepping away from RPGs for a second to bring up a more multiplayer experience, Splatoon 3, or really anything in the Splatoon series, but I'm picking Splatoon 3 because that's the one I have. And it's the one that's most recent and is still getting updates and features to it. When they first announced Splatoon on the Wii U back in the day, I immediately thought, oh man, that is a summertime game. Any kind of thing that involves paint guns or squirt guns or anything like that, it just embodies summertime to me. And not only that, but the locations of Splatoon as well. You have all of these different very harbor-based, water-based, just any kind of thing like that. Mainly because, you're a squid that's a kid, or a kid that's a squid. So not only is the activity very summer-like, but it's also the world around you and that you're playing in is also very summer-like too. You also have different other modes too that, maybe embody some of the grittier aspects of summer and the ocean and stuff like that, like Salmon Run, but I don't know. I think partly because of the release date of the original Splatoon being in the summer, and same deal with Splatoon 2 being in the summer of the first year that the Switch was out, it always is going to have that association with me. Not only that, but the bright colors, the bright music, the world you're in, I can't stress that enough. The world of Splatoon is just so summery. I don't know, it just reminds me of running around the yard and having squirt gun fights with my older cousins or younger cousins or friends or whoever. It's a very summertime activity. Now for a cute indie game that I think could be either a summer or a fall kind of game, but that is a short hike. You are a little bird spending time with your aunt on this little island, and you're basically just walking around and exploring, talking to people on the island and seeing what they're doing, going to different parts of the island and just doing little side quests in your eventual goal to make it all the way up to the top of the mountain on the island so that you can get some cell phone service to take an important call. Now, this game, it's just so nice. Again, you'll probably notice a theme here that a lot of these summer games just are about adventuring and seeing the world that you're in. And this game is absolutely like that, but just at a bite-sized level, where you're just ready for a little bit of adventure, but you're also ready to relax too. This game is so relaxing. The music is so lovely, and I love the art style of this game. You have your beaches, you have your mountainous areas, you have so many different NPCs to talk to with just really fun and cute dialogue, and I highly recommend playing a short hike if you haven't already. It's usually pretty cheap or sometimes free, depending on if you get it within an itch bundle or something like that, but it's just a great little game. Next up, we've got a new release, and I'm kind of using this one a little bit lightly because I do think it kind of fits more with the genre as a whole, but I'm bringing up this specific game for certain reasons, and that is Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life. Now, I've been loving this game so much. But I think in general, farming sims really just kind of embody a lot of summer. Same kind of deal. Growing up, I played a lot of Harvest Moon over the summer. Whenever I'd go up north, it'd be the little game that I was playing, trying so hard to just get as many heart points as possible and make everybody love me in the game. And I find myself doing that this summer with this game as well. Now, I do think that the games that happen in Forget-Me-Not Valley have a strange advantage over some of the other Harvest Moon games, and I'm picking this one just because this one just came out. But Forget-Me-Not Valley really does embody a lot of summer based on the environments and how they treat the seasons within the game as well. So Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life is very similar to previous Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon games, where your goal is to farm and build up this farm and have a family. However, as you go through the game, there's only 10 days per season, which means your years in the game are a lot shorter than previous installments. And that's because each time you finish a year, the story moves forward, and eventually your goal is to raise your child to be their own individual. The focus, weirdly enough, isn't on you as a farmer, it's on your child and the people in the town and surrounding you, and getting to know them and grow together as a community, which that's one of the reasons this game is one of my favorite Harvest Moon Story of Seasons games. I love it so much, and I think this remake did a phenomenal job at capturing that same magic. Now, I'm not very far in it, but I'm having a great time with it. So I think it did a phenomenal job doing what it needed to do. But going back to the seasons and why I think this game is very summery is if you look at Forget-Me-Not Valley as you go through the different seasons, it really changes, and people change with the seasons as well. People comment on it as they go about their daily lives. You see the changes in the trees and the environments and what people's daily schedules are. And I think that's really important. And sure, other farming games do that as well, but there's just something about Forget-Me-Not Valley that, similar to the Shin-Chan game, that just it reminds me of like Japanese summer aesthetics, I suppose. Like, you hear the cicadas in the background as you walk around during the summertime. You see people at the beach. Like, it's so cool and nice. Again, this is another game that I grew up playing over the summer a lot, but I really do think that it fits the category super duper well. But that being said, if this game isn't your cup of tea, I just recommend farming games in general. Now, there were a lot of Pokemon games that I could have picked for this part of the list. I had to go with one specifically over the one that is so much more objectively summer tropical, and that is Pokemon Emerald. Now, I'm a little biased. This is my favorite Pokemon game. I love Pokemon Emerald more than I could ever say. But this is a game that, again, picked up during the summer as a child, so you can see that the nostalgia is really important in this list. But I think the land of Hoenn is very, very fitting for the summertime, and thus very, very fitting for this list. Now, like any Pokemon game, you are a kid setting off on your great journey to become a Pokemon master. Now, there is a little bit more of a story to it as well when it comes to the legendaries. You have Team Magma and Team Aqua that are trying to, rule the world in different ways, and it's just really interesting. But like a lot of the other games on this list, Hoenn is based in this world that is entirely water-based and island-based. Many times throughout the game, you're taking a boat to get to various places, and a lot of those places are very tropical or just very themed in their own specific way. The color palette of Gen 3 is just very soft and summery anyway, so that really, really helps. Not only that, but Hoenn is based on the real-life Japanese island of Kyushu. I think the game does a really good job at embodying that kind of feeling as well. So I just remember sitting with my Game Boy Advance, sitting outside under like a towel trying to play it and see my Game Boy outside and just really being in the summer moment while also just playing a summery game. It felt very real to me in a weird way. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just felt like I was really truly going on this summertime Pokemon adventure. And I don't know, this game just means a lot to me. This game means a whole lot to me, and it will always be tied to really good summertime memories, and it's only furthered by how summery the game and the world is itself. Not only that, but again, the music plays a huge part in that too. Every time I hear the Slateport City theme, I always just think of this bustling, like, summertime market kind of deal, and it makes me feel just so happy and warm and fuzzy inside. This is another one that I think could really apply to the series as a whole, but is one that I wanted to pick for kind of an obvious cheesy reason, and that is Animal Crossing New Horizons. And yes, I picked this one over New Leaf because you're on an island. Yes, I get it. But truly, ever since New Horizons came out, I always get this urge in the summer to go back to my island and make it as summery as possible and just turn it into this tropical oasis. And that's kind of the magic of Animal Crossing. It really is a game for every season, but I think because I'm more relaxed in the summer, I have a lot more time, it makes me want to devote more time to my island specifically and making it super summery itself and kind of, you know, living out my best life on my tropical island. So the plot of New Horizons is you are going on this island tour living kind of situation. I can't remember exactly what it's called. So you and 2 other villagers get flown to this abandoned island, and it's up to you to make it your own and grow it how you want to grow it. Now, New Horizons gives you a lot more freedom than a lot of the other Animal Crossings, and while it unfortunately lacks some of the aspects that things like New Leaf do, there's still a lot of fun to be had in New Horizons. With so many customization options, you can really make your island your own. And other reasons why I think it fits really well within the summertime theme is the music, where you're going, how you travel to other places, and yeah, I mean, really, frankly, just being on an island. Not only that, but I think the DLC, the Happy Home Paradise aspect of it, adds even more summertime vibes. You're making vacation homes for different people, and while, you know, you can put those vacation homes in different kind of like seasonal climates, it's still just, I don't know, whenever I go to the island to go do DLC stuff, it just makes me so happy. Everybody in their little floral shirts, and I'm just like, ooh, I'm relaxed. I'm so relaxed. So, I don't know, I think more than any of the other entries in Animal Crossing, I think New Horizons really embodies so much summer and just that idea of relaxation. And even though people's relationship with Animal Crossing has become a little bit different, I think, since New Horizons has come out, a lot of people go hardcore, which is really cool. At its essence, the idea of Animal Crossing is to relax and get to know your villagers and stuff like that. And I do think New Horizons does a good job at that and promoting those feelings, which again is why I think it's a good choice for a summertime list. So our next one is another indie game and one that I'm really excited to play this summer, and that is Oxenfree. Its sequel is coming out very, very soon, so I need to play the first one. So while not super duper tropical or anything like that, there is something about scary stories and teenagers that really just fits in with the summertime vibes, and that is what Oxenfree is all about. You assume the role of a teenage girl, Alex, that's me, on a weekend trip to a local island. After seemingly supernatural events occur, Alex and her friends must unravel the secrets of the island. That's pretty much all I know. I've been staying away from basically everything about this game because I've heard it's shocking, I've heard the story is incredible, and I'm really, really, really excited. Not only that, but as the synopsis said, it takes place on an island which, while yes, not super tropical island, there's something about terrifying, just empty islands that again, just really make me think of summertime, scary, spooky adventure. Growing up in Michigan, we have a lot of ghost stories about the Great Lakes and surrounding the Great Lakes. And for some reason, this game just kind of gives me that kind of a vibe where it's like you go to this spooky island and you don't know much about what's going on there, and there's a lot of mystery behind it. And a lot of my summers were growing up listening and reading those kinds of ghost stories. So I'm excited to try it out and get a little spooked this summer as well. And for our last game, again, it's kind of more of the series, but also a specific title, and that is Pikmin, namely Pikmin 4, because it's coming out at the end of July. Now, throughout the different Pikmin games, you are exploring this unknown planet with the help from these little creatures called Pikmin, and it's a cute little puzzle game, and how can you not think of summer when you look at this game? You are bite-sized, exploring these giant green worlds, and it seems so fun and nice. And I've mentioned this before, I've never played Pikmin. I have Pikmin 3 on my Wii U and that's it, but I've never played Pikmin before. So 4 specifically seems very, very summery. I love the idea of Ochi and all of the things that you can do with Ochi and upgrading Ochi and all of that. And again, the world just seems so adventurous and summery and nice, especially when looking at some of the screenshots from 4. Not only does the world just seem vast and large and honestly reminds me of my backyard in some ways, you're also in new locations such as within a house, somebody's house. What happened to those people? I don't know. And you have this whole nighttime exploration aspect of it too, which again, I don't know about you, but I loved running around my house at night trying to spook myself crazy. So I'm really excited to see more of what Pikmin 4 is about, but I think Pikmin is another really great option to play over the summer if you're looking for a bite-sized, puzzly adventure in gorgeous and interesting worlds full of really interesting creatures. All right, this video was all over the place, and you know what? That's okay. When I came up with this idea, I didn't really have a super solid idea, but I thought it would just be fun to kind of talk about some games involving summer and summertime ideas, summertime vibes, and all of that. So I hope that, if anything, throughout this very chaotic and all over the place list, I hope maybe that you found a game that you really want to try and just experience summertime feelings. Whether it's summer right now for you, or maybe it's winter and you just want to look at the ocean, then maybe one of these games could be right up your alley. But anyways, everybody, I think that's gonna do it for this video. I feel like we're getting into my chaotic era of YouTube, so there might be some more weird, out of nowhere videos like this coming soon. And if you like that, maybe consider liking this video, and if you haven't already subscribed, maybe subscribe. I'd super appreciate it. And let me know down below what games you think really embody the summertime. I'd love to know what else I could add to this list and maybe try playing myself this summer as well. But everybody, until the next one, goodbye!